as long as he continued to provide propofol. But what Dr. Murray told police investigators is that he believed his role in this partnership was to find a way to help Michael Jackson sleep normally. Now, he had always told Michael Jackson, you can't keep using this. What happens when your tour is over? Why can't you sleep normally? Why won't you let me work with other sedatives, something else that will help you to sleep? You will see in these applied pharmacy records not just the propofol that was ordered. And by the way, the amount of propofol that was ordered was exactly the amount that Dr. Murray, as you'll see, our experts will show you, is exactly the amount that was necessary to do exactly what he said he did. And no more. But you will see in those applied pharmacy records, Dr. Murray also ordering midazolam and lorazepam, because he had hoped that he could switch to those sedatives to wean Michael Jackson off of propofol so he could sleep naturally. What he told police investigators and was left out in the opening statement was that on the day that Michael Jackson died, this was the third day of a weaning process. You see, on June 22nd, 3 days before Michael Jackson died, Michael Jackson finally agreed to let Dr. Murray try to cooperate with him, to try to get him off this propofol. And you will learn that on that day, Dr. Murray gave half the propofol he would normally give. Normally, he would give 50 milligrams in an injection and then a drip to keep the blood levels up. That would be his normal process for the 2 months prior. But on the 22nd, he gave half of each and gave lorazepam and midazolam. And Michael Jackson slept. He slept. And the next day, he got up and he went to work. On the 23rd, and it's 23rd and 24th because the evening goes into the morning, but the next day, Dr. Murray provided Michael Jackson no propofol at all. It was the first night in 2 months that he slept without propofol. And he used only midazolam and lorazepam. On the day that he died, the plan was not to give propofol. The plan was to go to the midazolam, the lorazepam. That's why you hear this recording. Please give me the propofol. Because for 10 hours, on the 25th, the morning of the 25th, for 10 hours, Dr. Murray refused. Instead giving him midazolam and lorazepam. Dr. Murray told police investigators that as 10 o'clock approached, Michael Jackson started begging for propofol. He was confused. He told police investigators he didn't understand why he wasn't sleeping. Why wasn't he sleeping? He had slept the night before. He told investigators that he was so confused he literally reached under the bed sheets to determine, to see if maybe the medicine that he was giving him was leaking onto the bed. It just wasn't getting into Michael Jackson. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't understand. One of the things that you're going to one of the things that the evidence is going to show you in this case, that you're going to learn in this case, you're going to learn about certain personality traits that Michael Jackson had. Not bad traits, but personality traits. What you're going to learn about Michael Jackson is that he had the habit of compartmentalizing relationships, packaging relationships, like spokes in a wheel. The wheel in his life turned, but the people that he associated with, the groups of people, were like spokes. They rarely, if ever, touched. You'll hear from the security staff that they necessarily knew where Michael Jackson went during the day, what he did during the day, because they had to take him there. But they were not allowed inside the house. They were not allowed except to use the restroom by the kitchen. They weren't allowed to know what was going on inside the house. You will hear from AEG staff, Randy Phillips, the president of AEG Live, will say that in order to talk to Michael Jackson, he had to go through Michael Amir. He had to call Michael Amir first, his guard and assistant. And they didn't know what he was doing when he wasn't at rehearsals. You'll hear from Dr. Murray told police investigators he didn't know what Michael Jackson did during the day when he was home sleeping. You'll hear about situations with his family. One of the spokes in Michael Jackson's wheel was a Beverly Hills doctor by the name of Dr. Arnold Klein. We will not be able to call Dr. Klein as a witness or his staff, but we will be able to provide you medical records that we subpoenaed that describe the treatment that Michael Jackson received at Dr. Arnold Klein's office. Now, Dr. Arnold Klein is a dermatologist by trade, you will learn. And you will see from these medical records, you'll be like footprints in the sand. You'll see where they lead. And what you will learn is that Michael Jackson would visit Dr. Arnold Klein sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. And that he would, according to the medical records, and I'm not going to tell you, I can't vouch for how complete they are, but they are what we have. And you will learn that during those procedures that he would get at the dermatologist, he would get Botox, perhaps, or Restylane, perhaps, maybe a blemish removal. But on each of those occasions that he visited Dr. Arnold Klein, he would receive a shot, an injection of demerol. Sometimes that injection was 100 milligrams, sometimes 200 milligrams, sometimes 300 milligrams. There were weeks where he received over 1,000 milligrams in 1 week. In this case, we're going to present to you an addiction specialist. His name is Dr. Waldman. Dr. Waldman is co-director or co-medical director of the Daniel Freeman Marina Hospital in Marina Del Rey. What he will tell you is that looking at these medical records, and we will show you these medical records, we will graph them out for you. Michael Jackson, he believed, or rather, let me just say this, Dr. Arnold Klein addicted Michael Jackson to demerol. And he will tell you that one of the insidious effects, the most difficult things about demerol addiction and its withdrawal, is an inability to sleep. And for some patients, it's an absolute inability to sleep. When Dr. Murray was reaching under the bed sheets trying to figure out where all the medicine was going, why this man didn't sleep, Dr. Murray was not part of that package. He did not know that Michael Jackson was receiving this demerol. And you will hear the conversation that he had with police at the Marina Del Rey, Ritz, Carlton, where they asked him, "Did you know about the demerol?" And Dr. Murray said, what demerol? I just saw that on TV. What was that about? Dr. Waldman will talk about the events that occurred, and you heard some of it from Mr. Walgren today. The events that occurred the week before Michael Jackson's death. And you will learn that Michael Jackson received a shot of demerol on June 16th, 2009. He had rehearsal scheduled that day. He attended that rehearsal. You will learn that he attended the next rehearsal on the 17th, but he missed on the 18th. Just didn't show up. And on the 19th, as Mr. Walgren told you, he was absolutely unable to perform. He had chills, he was in pain, he was sick. And Dr. Waldman is going to explain to you what he believes was happening during that week. And he's going to explain to you what he believed was happening thereafter as we got to the 25th of June, 24th, 25th of June. And what he's going to tell you is that Michael Jackson was suffering from the demerol withdrawal, that he was, his insomnia was as a result, partly at least as a result. Now, Michael Jackson told Dr. Murray that his insomnia was a result of his mind always racing, always moving, always producing. He just couldn't keep still. It was the genius in him. And perhaps partly that was true. We know about people like that. But Dr. Waldman will tell you it was also the demerol. Dr. Murray explained in much greater detail about what happened when he eventually agreed on the 24th to give 25 milligrams of propofol. He explained not just what you heard. You're going to hear and you're going to see a lot more than that. You're going to see what transpired between Dr. Murray and Michael Jackson during that period of time. It wasn't just what you heard. That was bit and piece. You're going to hear it in context. And what Michael Jackson told Dr. Murray at around 10:50, while he hadn't slept for 10 hours. He was up and around. He was in other rooms. He was lying down. But his eyes were always open. Couldn't sleep. And what he told Dr. Murray was, if I don't sleep, if I don't get some sleep, I can't complete my rehearsal. If I can't complete my rehearsal, I can't do my show. And I will disappoint my fans, and I will fail if I don't get that propofol. Now, these were not false words to Michael Jackson. They were not false words to Dr. Murray. Because what you will learn is that the week prior, when Michael Jackson failed to show up for rehearsals on the 18th, when he was unable to perform on the 19th, as they moved this entire production to the Staples Center, the meeting that was held on June 20th was not for Michael Jackson's benefit. It was an emergency meeting